Hey, and welcome back to Renee Ruth Music. I'm your host, Fred Jackson, and I'm with my lovely co-star,
Co-host,
co-host, CEO, the lady in charge.
Like, can you imagine trying to put that all on like Renee Ruth?
Oh.
I'm like, let me roll out my.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
doing good.
yeah.
Doing good.
Are you excited about? So we're done with this podcast. We got some work to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Are you excited?
It's because we got a brief. And do you want to explain to them what a brief is real quick before we get going?
Yeah, well, since you're new to this. Yeah. So I have been working, most of the music I made in the last 2 years were inspired by a brief. So somewhere, a brief is a company, and for example, it could be a car company, a fashion company, a clothing, fashion clothing, anyone, a TV show, a movie, anyone that who has film that needs music to it. So, you know, we don't often see film without sound, right? Mm-hmm. Silence air is gone. So you have, every time there's film, they have to put talking or music. And so somewhere along the way, music, at first it used to be like, I don't know if you remember, like TV shows would have bands that would do the music for the whole show, or they'd hire the network would have that guy that did all the music for, you know, so a guy was hired to do all the music. And then somewhere along the way, that like they started to use this artist's music or that artist, and so they started to pick, and then somewhere that developed into like, oh, we need someone in the middle who knows all the artists with the music that can connect to all the people with that need the music together. We're going to call that a sync agent. And so the sync is the connection of film to sound to music, and a brief is what that particular company is looking for. The problem with briefs are they could be as general as, we need a pop song.
Okay.
There's like billions. Or like the one we're gonna work on tonight was like, hey, there's a fashion brand looking for something upbeat, dancey, like, and there's a list of things that they're like, oh, and also here are 4 songs that we like but cannot use for a myriad of reasons.
Right.
So we want whoever's reading this to have their stab at it. Oh, by the way, it pays this.
Yeah.
And sometimes the pay is exponential. So it's enough in this instance. Is enough that I was like, Fred, let's try.
Yeah.
I was like, Fred, let's try.
We got to give this one a try.
I was like, Fred, let's try. So I've been doing them by myself in the past. I was just working through. I told Fred it was kind of like WWF. It was like me in the ring with the brief, fighting out a song. You know, and because it's not, they don't want that song, like. Or they may, because there's usually 3 or 4 options. So obviously they didn't want all 4 of them. They want, here are the things we like. You know, what do you like? Let's see if we can. So I just leaned in, like I would listen to them, and whatever leaned closer to my vibe is what I leaned into.
Right.
But I'm sorry, that's a long-winded way of saying that's what a brief is.
Yeah. No, that's good for the audience out there so they can know what we're talking about, you know? And then also the musicians who was maybe curious on how do you get to that point. So no, that was good. That was a good explanation, you know?
To that space. Well, because we didn't did you even know what sync was 5 years ago? I sure didn't. If it wasn't for Finn, shout out Finn.
What up?
If it wasn't for Finn, we wouldn't have known. Remember, Finn dropped that little nugget like one Christmas. I was like, you guys need to check this out. And then right when the pandemic hit, I found a class and ended up in this class and just taking class after class after class. Because I was just fascinated with this entire field of music that could generate better income than the money we were making on
playing live shows or something
like these little local gigs. So, but the trick is, once you write the music, you have to pitch it. So I got real busy writing a whole bunch of music, and I would send it in for the brief, but like I didn't. It's kind of like the idea of like you don't just try once. Like you have to keep sending, and I didn't keep. Like I would write to the brief, I'd send it in. If it didn't get it, I was like, well, and then I go to the next song.
Right.
Instead of like That's not the attitude. The attitude is like, okay, it wasn't for that one. Let's find where it goes, right? Like if you thought of all your songs as looking for a home, and you're like, they all have there's a home for them all. We have to go find it. You know, that takes time. And Fred can identify with like multiple jobs, multiple, you know, the time isn't always there. So I've hired someone that's going to do this for us. So hired. Thank you so much, Salome. She's in the Philippines, and she's going to find homes for them.
So what is your process of finding a brief and beginning to work with it? Like, do you seek them out, or do they come to you? Like,
I go looking. My dream, Fred, I've told you this. My dream is to like build relationships so that we become like, they know what we can do, how we can write. And that they come to us. Hey, we got this. We got this need. It's coming up in 2 weeks. It's coming up in a month. But like, we know you can write like this. Here, could you write this for us?
Right.
I want them to come to me.
Yeah.
But right now, no. It's kind of like selling houses. At first, you have to go find them. So now I'm looking. So I'm digging through. There's different websites that you can become a part of. Some are free, some you pay for, like Taxi's one, like there's different ones where they will send you briefs. I opt for more of the free ones right now. And then like if you get into different libraries, they'll send out briefs to their library if they can't find what's housed in it or ready for it. So I've got a couple avenues where they come from, but I'm looking. Like I don't have anyone going, hey, you could write this. Can you do that? I don't have that yet.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Hey, you know, you got to start somewhere. You got to crawl before you walk, right?
This is where we're. And Fred's about to start crawling into his first little sing song. I know.
Yeah, it's going to be a good process or a new journey for me.
Yes.
You know, because I'm such a lost performing musician,
Well,
so
whenever in our musical past, we've never, apart from now, because we did do that together.
Right, yeah.
But like I would show up, I'd have the song finished. I'd actually show up at the gig, be like, here's a new song, guys. And then we'd all just like.
Yep, we try to learn it on the spot. And it's like, all right.
As we went.
Yep.
Fred would sit and listen to me go the first verse.
Yeah.
And he'd come in on the chorus. But he knew what the verse was going to be kind of like. So the second verse would come in a little more. Yeah. And then he was ready for the second chorus. And then we'd all just like bam, bam, bam out. So like, I remember, Fred, that was your process.
Yeah.
But now we're sitting at the table and I'm like, here's what they're asking for.
I
said, Fred, I need a beat.
Right.
He's like, I'll get your beat. I'm like, no, I need a beat. And a really cool bass line.
Yeah. So, and that's going to lead to my next question was like, how do you begin the writing? So you was already, talking about, so like the one that we can use the example, the one that we are kind of working on now.
Oh, currently?
So
not now.
Not now.
Because that's the first
that
one.
That is a song. That's the first one that we did. It's called Now.
Yeah, but not.
But not now.
Not the
one. but yeah. So you was already kind of speaking about that, but maybe go in a little bit more detailed on. Is it easier to know what you're writing, like who you're writing for, like the audience or the company, or do you just go off of the reference tracks that they give you or the descriptions? Like what is that process like?
Fred, if you said it best earlier, because he was just like, can we know who the company is? And I'm like, no. He's like, that would make it so much easier. I was like, it would.
Yeah.
And there's probably so many legal reasons that they can't disclose who it is.
Correct.
So we are left with, and sometimes you don't even get reference tracks. So I've learned that if you're going to write to a brief without a reference track, it's literally like closing your eyes, spinning around 5 times, and then trying to throw a dart into the bullseye. Okay, that's how likely that is. With the reference tracks, though, I feel like you have a stronger chance because you don't know the brand, but listening to those tracks we learned a few things about that brand, or at least what that brand liked sonically. Right. So I feel like there's a greater chance when there's a reference track to get placed. But I would say this, like as an artist, I would never give up my artistry to fit into. So I don't go after every brief. Like I listen to the reference tracks, and if they seem to align, or I could get them to align with the space I'm already in, then I'll pick those. But there's many like we need classic rock. Pass. We need hip hop. Pass. Like I don't even read what it is because it's not my space. Right. So like it's that whole thing of like
you stay in your lane.
Less is more. Yes.
You know your role.
And I know your role. I do. It is cinematic pop or singer-songwriter. It is not hip hop. It is not R&B. No.
Yeah.
We actually like tried a hip hop one last year, and I literally was like, no. That's just nope.
No. Wasn't happening, huh?
Nope. So wait, let me finish that thought. So you were asking about like how I write. I told Fred, this is new for me. I don't usually write with people ever. Very new for me. I'm like letting you into my space. And it's only because we've worked together for 12 years. But I don't, right. And we co-wrote that one time together.
Yeah.
But I don't usually co-write. Like usually my process is like me at my house. I like play with my dog, wear him out. And then I light all these candles that smell good. And then I literally, the house has to be clean. Because if it's not clean, I can't think. And then I literally lay in I have vaulted ceilings, and I lay on the floor, and I'm like, and then I start to think about what the lyrics should be. And then I'll go to the piano, and I'll try to play out a melody line. I'm like, no, that sucks. I'll try to learn, like, no, that sucks. And then I'll be like, so I'll start singing a line, and like, so this is this dance that I do between laying on the floor and the piano. And I'm like, and the dog's looking at me like I'm a mental person. And like somewhere in that, it starts to take shape. And I cannot tell you how.
Right.
And then like all of a sudden I'm like, there it is. Okay, that makes sense. And like I can hear it. And then I get to the point where I can scratch it out and send it to the producer, who then makes more sense of it. And sometimes the words don't come. Like sometimes I'm singing like la 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 la, like I'm not singing words. Like I'm like, this is definitely the melody line, but the words, because I don't like to write just any words. Like I like the words to be really good, but I don't. That could take longer, and so in order to keep the process moving, I'll send the melody line and the singing line and the keys line to get because sometimes the words will come when I hear more of the production done. I'm like, oh, I feel that. Like I feel I feel, you know.
Yeah.
And so then I send scratch vocals, and then they send back their comp vocals after, and just back and forth until it gets to done. So when we did it, he and I were like beep boop beep, like we're trying to make like the bass line, and we're like, oh, that sounds so bad. And I kept saying, well, find someone who can tell us how to make that sound better. And then like the drums were so cheesy, and we're like, that sounds so bad. We're like, we'll find someone to make it sound better. Like, but we did a whole song. I mean, we knew what we wanted it to be. Right. We just did not have the skills. Still don't. Willing to work on it though.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a whole new world right there, you know. Like me as a drummer, only had one kick drum. And that's the one right there in front of me.
Like your foot works.
Yeah. But on a computer, like
do you want the 808? Do you want the 909? How about a 707? Do you and we're going through like all these things, and Fred's like pushing, no. I'm like, you could spend a lifetime.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, go back to the other one.
Which one? Which one were you talking about?
You have to go back and listen to them all again. I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. Someone out there tell us how to do it, because oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And so you got the brief.
Yeah.
You got the words. You got the melody.
Yes.
You got the beat. You got the bass line. Everything is coming together. So when everything is done, what's the next steps?
You got to pitch that thing. So clearly we pitched the brief, assuming we make it by the May 12th deadline. That is the deadline. Assuming we get there, I would pitch to that for sure. But I've learned it's kind of like, you know, if you went to Vegas, you went to Vegas.
I did.
He liked Vegas. If you went to Vegas and you played like the first thing and you lost, and then you never played again because you lost. What fun is that? And also you can't win if you never play again. So like when I went to Vegas with I went to Stephanie took me to casino,
Uh-huh.
and like I lost, like I was losing. She goes, "No, keep going." And I was like, "But I'm losing." She goes, and she goes, "I feel it's coming." And I mean, I was down to like $5, and then like, but had I quit,
Right.
do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I think we always give up. And that's what I told Fred. We're not attached to that brief.
Mhm.
That brief is our inspiration
Right.
to create the next track
Mhm.
that maybe is for that brief.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's going to be for another really awesome something else.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. So when it's done, the next step is to pitch it. And that's hustle. That's your hustle. Like, that's my hustle. Like,
Yeah.
I have to find its home. I've got to find where will it fit? Because you think between gaming, Netflix, all the internet shows, all the TV, all the different streaming shows, everybody needs music.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely.
Like, somebody needs it. You just have to find, like, it's just, you got to
Yes.
find a home.
Yep. Yep. And that's a good way of putting it. And I hope our track
Wouldn't it be so cool if we got to come back on and be like, they took
gets
it.
a home.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be so cool?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
I hope this is interesting for you guys, but I'm going to leave this with Fred. I found a fun fact. Something that he may not know. Yes! Fred,
Okay.
I'm going to bring you something at the end of these things because he does a good job of like questionnaring me. So I'm like, okay, you ready?
All right.
So you know, Fred, that we used to do all our cover shows, and I would always play like Let It Be.
Right.
And people loved it. Or like, we didn't really do Hey Jude, but you remember the Beatles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you know that none of the Beatles could read or write music?
Really?
What?
That doesn't surprise me.
He's like, those 3 chord changes said a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, none of them.
No. And the reason why is because, like I know tons of musicians that doesn't know how to read or write music. I'm down to like 6th, 7th grade.
6, 7. I know. Can you imagine that?
But I'm a self-taught musician.
Yeah.
I've been playing ever since I was 2 or 3 years old. And I know a lot of other musicians. They just grew up my dad put a guitar in my hand and I just started playing. And they're just like, wow, okay. And there it is, no real formal learning. So that doesn't surprise me. And it's always not always, but I find it fascinating that the people that I really, truly enjoy listening to, when I go to look them up, there is no schooling.
Because there's something from the soul.
It's just a natural born talent.
Yeah. There's something.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it explains their 3 chord changes because those are easy. So it's not.
Correct.
Although some people who don't know how to read or write music, they can still. They're playing changes that like they can't even tell you what they are.
Correct.
They just hear them.
Yeah. And it goes for like the styles of music too.
It does.
For
the
instance,
genres.
For instance, like if you're trying to play it with the symphony, you got to go to school with that.
No,
you got to go to school for that.
Let me tell you that I got schooled as a vocalist, singing with the opera singer. Well, how do you sing your O's? I was like, there's a way.
Yeah.
I was like, the way I do it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way?
I
was like, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
The O's come out how they come out.
Yeah.
No, there's a way to sing an O, and I was not doing it right.
Right.
So luckily I was dubbed the pop singer, so there was some allowances for me. Like there was still like sideways like
she's not singing her O's correctly.
I was like, yeah, I don't even know how to do that. Like I didn't even pretend. I was like, you are definitely better than I am. And I said, could you come down to my level? I am not getting to yours. But thank you for letting me sing with this symphony.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's the thing too, is I think that like spinning off that for like a second, because this was only supposed to be a fun fact, but like the artistry behind an artist, like there's the classical and then there's the art. You know what I'm saying? And art exists in classical, but it also has its own free form.
Oh, right.
And that's I think a lot of what those guys who are.
Yeah. And I was going to say, also going to say like some of the newer artists that I'm listening to, and the ones who are a little bit more complex in their music, when I go to look them up, yeah, they've been to Berkeley and all these other music
Juilliard.
schools, and it's like, yeah, I definitely hear
I
it.
heard that. Yeah,
You know, so it
I'd be
pays
like,
off.
what are they doing?
Yeah. So either way, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, it's, you know, I love the musicians who are just naturally born talented musicians. You can't take that away from someone who went to school.
No,
you know,
there's just
I will say, and this is my personal experience, and I know I'm going over time and everything.
Yeah, woo.
But learn how to jam. Meaning learn how to play spontaneous, like, oh, okay, someone put you in the key of G and just roll with it, because I know in college I could tell the ones who were natural born talent musicians
Yeah.
versus I went to school for this.
Based off whether they could jam.
Yeah. They used to come to the jam sessions, they would be like, all right, I'm ready to jam. They got that real book. I'm like, what are you doing, player? Like we
So we're just gonna play.
we're just gonna play. Like, whatever is in your heart, whatever's in your mind, however you're feeling right now, we're gonna let it all out. We're not turning to chapter or page 3 or whatever. Yeah, I don't even know what.
Look, and I'm saying this as someone who cannot jam. That's a skill too.
Yeah.
My problem with jamming is I probably could. I just don't. My music theory got lost in the decade. So like, Fred's lucky because jamming on the drums doesn't require key signatures. The rest of us are like, what key did you just go to?
But there's another podcast I can explain my jamming to defend the other drummers who just think we don't got no key changes.
Oh, I want to hear this part. Okay, so that's going to segue. Come on back next week.
Check us out next week. I'm going to sit on that side.
Yeah. We're going to switch seats. We're going to all about Fred jamming on the drums. Thanks for joining, guys.
Bye. Bye.